Hello, this is Mary Wisner from the Gallagher Law Library. In this video, I'd like to demonstrate how you can start your paper using HeinOnline. Secondary sources are really useful when you're starting a paper because they give you an overview of a topic, citations to primary sources, and citations to other secondary sources. HeinOnline has lots of amazing resources useful for many aspects of research. Right now, I'm just going to focus on using the Law Journal Library early in your project. When you develop a topic, you often have to brainstorm ideas. So suppose I'm in genetics and the law, and I'm assigned to write a paper on any topic related to the class. I might think, well, I'm interested in discrimination, and so let me think about genetic discrimination. Where would that take place? Maybe it would take place in the workplace, and I'd look at employment laws. Maybe it's in insurance, maybe healthcare. Where else? Does privacy figure into this, and how? What's the current law? Are there any statutes? Are there any cases? And where? Does it matter what jurisdiction you're in? So at this point, I'm just brainstorming. I'm just musing. Then I can do some research to start to look at what's out there. I'll read some articles, and then I'll have a better idea so that I can refine what I'm interested in and focus my research. In your searching, you should start off with a broad search. I'll demonstrate how you use quotations to search for a phrase. Once you get some results, you can sort them in different ways. You can also filter, or you can refine your search by adding more search terms or searching within results. Eventually, you'll get down to a smaller number of articles, and you can intentionally decide which ones you're going to read first. Here we are at the Law Library's homepage, and on the right side, there's a list of selected databases. There's HeinOnline. You can see that HeinOnline has many collections within it. We're going to be looking at the Law Journal Library. There's a lot of content in here. You can search just by putting words in this big box. I like to go to advanced search so that I can see what my options are. So we type in genetic discrimination. We get over 24,000 results. The default ranking is by relevance, which is determined by an algorithm that HeinOnline's programmers came up with. The first article is What Makes Genetic Discrimination Exceptional. I'm going to edit my search, which I can do right here. You see where it says Modify Search? Instead of just typing in the words genetic discrimination, let me put quotation marks around it. That way, the system will be looking for that exact phrase. Now, instead of 24,000, we have just over 1,700, a much smaller set. The default ranking, again, is relevance, and the first article is still What Makes Genetic Discrimination Exceptional. I like to play around with other ways to sort. So, for instance, we could look at the oldest article first. And the first time that that phrase, genetic discrimination, occurred was in 1977. I often like to sort by the newest article first to see what the latest articles are about. Justice in the Genomic and Digital Era. Be careful where you spit. Race and other group discrimination in the genomic era. Another thing you can do is sort by the number of times other articles have cited an article. And now the top one is subordination, stigma, and disability. So we can play around with these different sorts to help us spot articles that might be particularly interesting. In the left column, we have lots of ways to refine our search. Date is the most obvious, and let's say we wanted, say, the last 7 or 8 years. Now we just have 350 results. It's still sorting by the most cited. So now our top one is data-driven discrimination at work. Location is a way to help you find articles that are talking about the law of some particular jurisdiction. Maybe you were only thinking of US law, but looking at that and seeing United Kingdom, Europe, Australia, Germany makes you think, hey, I'd like to do a comparative paper. I don't want to focus on a US jurisdiction. Again, these appear to be assigned by an algorithm, so sometimes you can have surprising results. Here's a location called Huntington, which is actually, I think, articles that talk about Huntington's disease, and the algorithm thought that that was a location. Anytime you're using a database, any computer system, be aware that this is not God talking to you. This is programs developed by programmers who are human beings. One thing that I find more reliable is looking at where it's published, because the database designers, the HeinOnline people, when they load a journal that they have licensed from the publisher, they know for sure where that journal is published. Now, a journal published in the United States could write about Japan, or it could write about the US. But looking at where the journals are published is a way to get a sense of what perspectives you can get from other places. We've already modified a search when we went back and put in quotation marks around genetic discrimination. This little downward pointing arrow lets us search within results. Within those articles that have the phrase genetic discrimination, how many have some form of the word gene in the title? The asterisk gives us any variation after the letters we've already typed. So this would be gene, genes, genetic, genetically. Now we're down to 116 results. We find genetic privacy in the Fourth Amendment, comprehensive protection of genetic information, one-size privacy, may not fit all, and so on. So working through these, now that we're down to just 116, you can skim the titles and maybe decide on 2 or 3 that you want to start off reading. When you read articles, you use them to gain an understanding about your topic. What are the issues? How have they been addressed so far? Are there gaps? Maybe the author even says, this is an issue that needs to be addressed. Mind the footnotes. The footnotes will lead you to cases and statutes and other secondary sources. So in this long list, here's a fairly recent one, The Law of Genetic Privacy, Applications, Implications, and Limitations. It's so new that the article has only been cited 4 times, but we see that the authors have been cited much more. This author, Ellen Clayton, has been cited 126 times, and Mark Rothstein has been cited over 1,000 times. So this tells us these are authors who are well established. We can look at the whole article by clicking on it, and you get screen images. And you see how it takes a while for each page to load? I like to download the PDF at this point because I can scroll through the PDF much faster than I can go through the article in HeinOnline. Most articles start off with an abstract. That's another good way to sort out whether this article is going to be worth your time. They give you a summary of what they're talking about. Right here, they tell us that they're going to be talking about a couple of statutes, HIPAA and the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act, GINA. So that tells us they're going to lead us into statutes, and we can flip through and look at the headings. We see a citation to a regulation, a citation to law review articles, a citation to a chapter in a book, another article and a citation to a federal statute. So just on this page, we're getting leads that could be useful to us as we pursue our topic. Let's recap. You can use HeinOnline's Law Journal Library to get started learning about a topic and narrow it down. Start with a broad search, then sort and filter to decide which articles look most promising. Read the articles for an overview and mine the footnotes. For more about searching law review articles, see the videos posted at guides.lib.uw.edu/law/Gallagher Basics/law rev. This has been Mary Wisner from the Gallagher Law Library. See our website for library services, research guides, and more. That URL is lib.law.uw.edu.